Thank y'all for being here. Always to see you after a win. Not that it's not good to see you anytime, but it's a little better to see you after a win. We think we're getting better. I know we're getting better as a football team. Our guys are playing with a lot more confidence. We got off to a quick start on Saturday, which I thought was crucial. I said after the game, I was worried about that. Monroe had been a team that Troy had traditionally had issues with, and they play a different style of offense, different style of defense, and we were coming off 2 really brutal weeks of travel, going to Las Cruces, then over to Boone. So to get off to the quick start on the we had a big play. John Johnson made a tremendous catch on our first offensive snap. Defensively, on the first series, we had 2 tackles for a loss that got us going, and it was just a good team win. It was good to play well in front of our home fans on Military Appreciation Day. That was good, and I want to thank them for coming. We had a lot of military personnel here, and I want to say I appreciate them for being there. Defensively, to kind of summarize the game, we forced 6 turnovers, and we that's something that we stress on a day-to-day basis, and it's starting. We're playing better defense, and what I mean by that, we're anticipating things better. Like Farmer's 2 picks really were preparation things that he'd seen on film, and he was able to jump those balls. We scored 2 defensive touchdowns, which I think anytime you do that, you're going to have a chance to win. We didn't cover very well. We let them get behind us too much, and they only connected on a couple, but there was 3 or 4 other times they were behind us, and we missed too many tackles, and that's something that we can't afford to do this week coming up. But we shut down the run game, made them one-dimensional, and we put a lot of pressure on their quarterback. Our player of the week this week defensively, and I really felt strongly that he should have been the player of the week defensively in the conference. It was LaMarcus Farmer. He had 2 interceptions, had a touchdown off an interception, had 2 tackles and a pass breakup. So I thought he played really, really well, and he's our defensive player of the week. Offensively, we had 0 turnovers. And like I said, same thing with the 6 turnovers on defense. If we don't turn the ball over, then we've got a really good shot. If you look at the games we've lost, particularly in league, we've turned the ball over, and that's been the story of the game. We played with good tempo. Disappointed we didn't finish drives in the red zone. We had to settle for 3 field goals where we should have been able to punch it in and get touchdowns. And I didn't like how we played in the second half. I didn't like how we played at New Mexico State once we got the lead, and I didn't like how we played at against Monroe in the second half. Not that we were looking to run the score up. That's not what we're ever going to be about, but I wanted us to play with more attention to detail, and we didn't do that. We're getting better at third downs, and we made some big plays. Brandon Burks had a great game. He had almost 100 yards receiving, 100 yards rushing, but he's had a lot of good games. Our offensive player of the week is somebody that you don't get to talk about a lot, and that's our left tackle, Antonio Garcia, graded out over 90%. Only had 1 mistake in the game. He's played at a high level the last 3 games in a row, and that's been encouraging to see. Give up no pressures, and did a very good job in the run game. Special teams, we were solid all night. We had good operations. Ryan Kay has hit the ball much better the last 2 weeks. We had a 48.5 net average punting, which is really, really good. Our kickoff unit continues to perform well. Jed had 7 touchbacks, which was a really good job. We had 1 mental lapse at the end of the game. We got a field goal block, and we were taking a great deal of pride in not having any punts or field goals blocked this year, and for that one for us not to pay attention to details at the end of that game was disappointing. Our special teams player of the game, same one that the league recognized, and deservingly so. Jed Solomon has scored 15 points. Should have been 18, but he scored 15 points. Had 7 touchbacks, and he's done a real consistent job for us all year. I think it speaks to his maturity, bouncing back after the miss against Idaho to come back and really play strong. Some other awards I want to recognize that we do after wins. Our scout team guys on offense, the guy that's done a good job and excited about him is Zach Branner. He's an offensive lineman from Buckhorn. And then defensively, Damon Kemp is our scout team player of the week. He's came back and really performed well. He just got back really practicing this week. Missed a bunch of time with some injury, but he's a guy that I feel like when he's healthy, he's going to be one of the top defensive linemen in our conference. Our special teams players in Wesley right there, another Brantley Bulldog, Doug Salter, who's redshirting this year for us, but has done a great job getting our punt team ready, and we wanted to recognize him. Our Corey McCullers Spirit Award goes to a kid that's redshirting that we're excited about, that's definitely going to play and have a big part of in our program the next 2 years at corner is Cameron Melton. So big challenge this week. We've got Georgia Southern. Also a great opportunity. We've got Senior Day, and like I said, with all the basketball in here today, I can't believe it's November, but it's here, and it's Senior Day, and we want to try to send those guys out. We'll have 21 guys that'll walk out there, and for the last time in Veterans Stadium. We're not going to put a huge emphasis on it, but I think I do want to recognize their contributions not only this year but to our program as a whole. I always talk to the seniors. You always remember your last game. Not as much Senior Day, but you'll remember your last game. Georgia Southern 6-2. They've only lost one Sun Belt game in 2 years, so they've been dominant in league games. They'll be well rested. They haven't played since October 29th, and this is going to be the third game in conference that we've played that the opponent has extra days rest coming into our game. It'll be the fourth overall, the opponent that we played this year with extra rest. So, schedule makers didn't do us any favors on that deal. Offensively, if you talk about them, and I think that's where people like to start when you're talking about them, they are an option-oriented team, but they're not a Georgia Tech style option. They're a gun-based option team. They're averaging 36.5 points a game. They're top 25 in scoring offense. They got the number one rushing offense in the country at 385 yards. They spread you out. They use a lot of different motions, a lot of different formations, unbalanced formations, and they try to get you into one-on-one tackling situations. And they've got some guys that can make you miss. Their quarterback, Kevin Ellison, can really run. He does a very capable job of throwing it as well, but he can run. He makes you miss. And then Matt Breida, the running back. The quarterback, Ellison, 7.5 yards per carry, and the running back's 9.5 yards per carry. So if you want to know why they run the ball a lot, if our guys average that too, we'd be running it every time. So defensively, they're near the top in scoring defense. I think they're around top 35 in the country. They're a veteran unit. That's what jumps out to me. They got 9 of their 11 starters are either juniors or seniors, so they've played a lot of football. They're big and strong in the middle. Now, they got 310-plus defensive tackles that are difficult to move. Their best linebacker that I see on film is number 37, Williams. He's 6'3", 245, so they're really big in the middle. Now, secondary, they're playing. I think that's their most improved unit from a year ago. Glover kid has 6 interceptions. That's a lot of interceptions. I want to say the national record's around 8 or 9. So they're playing at a high level there. Everybody wants to talk about them on offense. The thing that jumps out to me when I watch them and then when I look at them on paper is special teams. And when I tell you about their numbers, you're going to feel the same way. They're sound in all phases. They blocked 3 field goals and they blocked 3 punts. They're first nationally in both of those. They're ranked number 1 in the country in kickoff coverage. They're 21st in kickoff return. They're 3rd in punt, 10th in punt return. And they're pretty salty on special teams. So, and I think that's always a sign of a really well-coached team is guys that do a good job on special teams. Willie Fritz is their head coach. He's won at every level. So we've got a big challenge this week. We're getting better. I always want to see. I think that right now that App and Arch State and Georgia Southern are playing at the top of our league. So I'm interested. I'm excited to see kind of how close we are. So with that, questions.
What's their options from the gun look like, their formation? How do they kind of line up?
They line up in a lot of 11 personnel. Their base set is a 3 receiver set with a tight end that they align off the ball. They'll also get into 2 true running backs, 2 tailbacks, and 3 wide receivers, and they'll mix it up. But those are their 2 primary sets, and they're in the gun, and it's a lot of zone-based option where they're zone blocking, and they'll do a little power blocking in there as well.
How big will turnovers be? Your defense 4-6. They throw some interceptions, even though they don't throw the ball that much.
Yeah, I think if you're going to look at the 2 factors, and this is, I probably say the same thing every week. The 2 factors are going to be turnover margin and explosive plays. We've got to limit their explosive plays, and we've got to get some big plays. Offensively, they're a team it's been difficult to get those against, so we've got to figure out schematically how to do that. But turnovers, that's been the story of our year, and we've held on the ball offensively. Even if we haven't created any, when we've held on the ball offensively, we've had a chance to win games.
How healthy are you going to be up front since the defensive front has always been a
It is. I mean, I don't know if we're any more beat up than anybody else at this time of year. Now, Georgia Southern may not because they're coming off 17 days rest, but most people this time of year are beat up. We'll practice smart, and we'll be nearly full strength. Seth Callaway is questionable. Everybody else will be ready to go.
How did it feel to get back in front of your home crowd and get that win?
It was great. You know, the Military Appreciation Day is it's always special on this campus just because we have so many students that are either currently enlisted or previously been enlisted in the military, and obviously with a lot of our upper administration having military background, it's always special. And I thought, you know, I thought our students did a nice job coming out on what was really forecast to be a bad weather day, and ended up not being bad. This week's going to be big. You know, I spent a lot of time with some of the Greek students last night, encouraging them, showing our appreciation for them for supporting us, and I think it's important that we come out for this last home game, not only for our seniors, but it's a huge game. You know, we're really putting an emphasis on finishing this year strong, and hopefully our home fans will come out and support us, not only on campus but in the community as well, and in Dothan and Montgomery.